Hello, everybody. It is a Monday. We are starting a new week. This week, we're going to talk about empathy. So welcome to today's video, Empathy Crash Course. What is empathy? How can I use it? And why? All right, so we hear a lot about empathy and that we need to empathize with the people in our lives. But what exactly is empathy? How can you use it to help others, improve your relationships, and be a better person and a more connected parent? Why would you want to? In the next 5 minutes, I will give you a crash course in empathy as it relates to family relationships and how to utilize it to help grow a deeper connection and understanding inside your family. If you would like to see my longer video that talks about empathy and my parenting method called Cubed, that gets into how my clients and I focus on connection and use empathy to build integrated families, comment #empathy below, as it says there, and I will get you that link. My name, for those of you who don't know, is Matt Kenyon, and I am a family relationship coach and the owner of Freethought Coaching, where I help parents end the conflict, build happily integrated families, and create intentional boundaries and use empathy behind all of it. My promise is that there is always at least one tool, trick, tip, or strategy or piece of advice that you can use immediately after watching my videos. Okay, let's get into this. Empathy. What, why, and how? So, what is it? Well, my definition is that empathy is understanding someone else's experience and emotions from their perspective. But let's ask a professional. So I'm going to read out of Parenting from the Inside Out by Daniel J. Siegel, and his definition he has in here is empathy. Open your mind to sense another's experience and point of view. I like that definition. It's really good. And it implies that, like most things in my method, it has to be genuine. Empathy can't be faked. Kids see right through faked empathy. It has to be genuine. So if you're not feeling it in the moment, my first piece of advice, stop, take a step back, take a few deep breaths until you can genuinely feel the empathy. Then come back at it. Because empathy is ultimately, it's putting yourself in the place of someone else and then understanding the perspective now that you're there, right? It's completely different than sympathy. Okay, so let me give you an analogy that I like. I call it the hole analogy. So let's imagine Steve. Steve is sitting in a hole. He fell into that hole. He didn't intend to fall in that hole, but now he's stuck in this hole. And 3 people walk by. Apathy, sympathy, and empathy. Apathy, right? The complete lack of wanting to understand or be involved, walks right on by the hole. Doesn't even say hi to Steve. Doesn't care. Sympathy, which is better, walks up to the hole, looks down in the hole, sees Steve and says, "Oh, Steve, man, that looks like a really deep hole. So sorry you fell in there. I'm going to work. Let me know how it goes. I'll talk to you later." It walks away, right? I mean, they sympathized. They said, "Wow, that looks, wow, I can see you're in a hole, and yeah, that looks shitty." Excuse my French. But they walked away, right? All right, so what about empathy? What happens when empathy walks by? Empathy doesn't actually walk by. Empathy walks up to the hole, climbs down in the hole, and sits down next to Steve and looks around and says, "Wow, Steve, this is a really deep hole. Now that I'm in the hole with you, I really see just how deep this hole is and just how hard it is to get out. What do you say we work together and get out of this hole?" You see the differences there between apathy, who just didn't care, sympathy, who expressed sympathy but didn't help, and empathy, who tried to get in the hole, get inside Steve's mind and understand Steve's perspective, and then offered compassionate help to help them out. So why is empathy so important? Well, I'm going to go back to Daniel J. Siegel. And in his book, No Drama Discipline, he describes the power of empathy this way. Quote, "For a child or an adult, it's extremely powerful to hear someone say, quote, 'I get you, I understand, and I see why you feel this way.' This kind of empathy disarms us unquote. Boy, Daniel really captures there the real power comes from understanding, right? And this disarming quality of empathy is what makes empathy the superpower of relationships. But I have a video coming later in the week on that. So let's talk about how do we do empathy? Well, we start by looking at the situation from the other person and seeing it from how they're experiencing that situation. We ask questions before we make assumptions about why they're in the situation or how they feel about it or what they want to do about it. We try to understand. And we leave judgment at the door. We don't bring any judgment into this. This is all about them. Because judgment is literally the opposite of empathy. So if you're feeling judgmental at all, you're not able to do empathy. Again, take a breath, step back, and come back later. And then part of empathy is acknowledging and validating. You have to acknowledge their experience and validate their feelings. So what does empathy sound like? What does it look like, right? Well, it sounds a lot like this. I see that you are upset. That is understandable. It's like saying to someone, hey, that sounds difficult, frustrating, upsetting, stifling. Anything that you think might be the feeling they're feeling. It's okay if you get it wrong. You can always ask, is that how you feel? And form better understanding. It sounds like that makes sense. That must be very tough, scary, awful, etc. Now that I hear how you experienced that, it is understandable that you feel insert relevant emotion here. Take a guess. They'll tell you if you're wrong, and then you can ask to be corrected. Remember, you aren't agreeing with them that their experience is objectively true. That's not the point here. The point is to understand their experience. And we want to just acknowledge their experience and then validate their feelings. Wow, it's understandable that you feel upset. It's understandable that you're angry. Put into practice that can be something like, hey, Timmy, I know that you want to go play over at Johnny's house. And I can see that this is really upsetting for you. And I'm sorry about that. And it's completely understandable that you're upset about this. Unfortunately, we can't go. So now you've acknowledged their feelings and you've told them that it's okay to be upset. And then you take their hand and you sit in the hole with them. And you maybe say, how can I help? And depending on their age, they may not know. And that's where you have to be the parent and not diminish their feelings, but while acknowledging their feelings, help them move forward so they don't get stuck. So part of this is also being vulnerable ourselves, being open to feeling that emotion that child is feeling and then expressing it back to them. But that takes vulnerability. Again, it's a learned skill. It's something that may not come naturally to you right away. But keep working on it. One way that you can develop your ability to do empathy and your ability to be vulnerable is by practicing mindfulness. Because practicing a mindfulness routine, something that Daniel Siegel calls time in, like meditation, time by yourself, long walks with the dog, is that while you're practicing that introspection, in that practice of mindfulness, it helps you to be in the moment with someone else when they need your ability to empathize. And another tool I want to share with you that we'll get into a longer video about tomorrow is something that I've discovered really works for me. It's called empathic or empathetic listening. And it means just actively listening to someone else's perspective objectively. That's it. And listening from that place so that your listening is focused on understanding their perspective. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. be the empathy that someone else needs in their life today. And happy parenting. Thank you for watching, everybody. I really appreciate the love and support. And please leave a comment down below with what in this video resonated with you or something that you're going to take away and use in your parenting. And don't forget, if you haven't already, like and subscribe and hit that bell icon so you can get notified when I put out new videos. It really helps get these videos out to other parents like yourselves who really need them. To join my Connected Parenting community on Facebook, where I have tons of other resources and a group of parents like yourselves who are struggling with the same issues you are, click the link down in the description. Have a great day. Try to be the parent today that your kid needs, and happy parenting.